Episode of computer game development where we're going to look at some basics around 3D modeling, pretty much getting the tools ready so you can do the modeling, which of course is the most important step to take to get started, right? So let's do that. Let's go into a Finder on your computer, open up Finder and go to your Applications folder. It's presumed that you already went to self-service and installed Magic of Voxel from there. So if you haven't done that, please do that. Take the time. Pause the video. And before you do, maybe like and subscribe. But seriously, go to self-service, install Magic of Voxel, come back if you haven't already done so. But you can see that I have installed, we're back. I've installed Magic of Voxel, and Magic of Voxel is a voxel creation engine and just the application for you to create these types of voxel models. What I'm going to do here and ask you to do is right click on it. That's 2-finger click if you're using the trackpad, and we're going to copy it. So you can see all these different choices in this context menu. We're going to choose copy. So you're going to right click on the Magic of Voxel folder. That's the folder there that was created during that install process from the self-service application. So I've copied that Magic of Voxel folder. Now to where should I go? Well, if you go to your desktop, if you look at my desktop, you probably don't want to. You're probably going to start to have serious problems and wonder, what kind of serious problems does Mr. Eisman have if he has a desktop like this? He has so many cool things. Yeah, that's probably what you're thinking on the desktop. But make a folder called Game Dev Apps or something. That's cool. Why don't you do that? Make a folder called Game Dev Apps. I did. I made a folder right here. You can right click and go new folder, and then you can name it. And you can call it Game Dev Apps, or you can call it My Favorite Apps, or you can call it Apps That Are Cool. Now you can call it all kinds of things, but I call it my Game Dev Apps or Game Dev Apps. So I'm going to go over here. I already have it open in a new Finder tab, which is cool, I think. Hope. Doesn't really matter if it's cool anyway. It's just what it is, what it is. So anyway, so I'm going to paste. Look what happened. It pasted. It remembered. It held in the clipboard that folder. It remembered there's moments ago that I copied that. Remember that? A little bit ago, I was over in the applications folder and I copied this. Right clicked on it, 2-finger click for the trackpadders. I copied it back then, and then I took some time to kind of memorialize the really organized desktop that you see. Create a folder called Game Dev Apps, and then we opened it, and then we pasted it. And there it is. There's Magic of Voxel right there in that folder. Now, what can we do now? We can open this in a new tab, maybe. Open the Magic of Voxel in a new tab. Watch this. If I grab the Magic of Voxel executable now and go over into the Game Dev Apps, drop it in there, you're like, what are you doing? I'm actually using this GUI in such a way that it's adding extra permissions or rewriting the permissions for this executable file. Because if you haven't noticed, and you tried running the Magic of Voxel application after installing it from the self-service, it's very likely it looked like just a black rectangle. And that's based upon the new permission system that they used. And the fact that the Magic of Voxel packaged at the self-service wasn't adequately packaged for the new permission system. It's been there for a while. But that's not a problem, because we can do this stuff. So basically, by putting it over here in the Game Dev Apps, dragging it out of the Magic of Voxel folder, now I'm going to drag it back into the Magic of Voxel folder after having drug it out. Isn't that like net zero? Isn't it literally undoing what I did? Not exactly. By dragging it into the other folder, I changed the permissions for this file. Now it has permissions such that it can open all these different folders that are surrounding it. That's the cool thing. Well, it's one of the cool things. Or I'd hope that you'd think it was cool. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter if you think it's cool at all. We're going to right click on that executable file, that file that looks like the little creature. I don't know what you call it. And then we're going to go over and where it says make alias, we're going to click that. So that's 2-finger click. on the trackpad, or right-click if you have a mouse, and we're going to choose Make Alias. And then it creates like another copy of that little character, but this time it has a little arrow pointing to it, because alias means it's basically pointing to that executable. We can think of it like a link that's pointing to something, or underlying it deeper in the operating system, there's like an actual like pointer in the language. It's like referencing another part of the memory. But okay, however you would like to look at it, just think, hey, that's cool. You don't have to think it is cool, actually. If it is to you, that's fine. I'm not telling you what to think is cool, but if it is, that's great. Does that mean that I'm going to prefer what you say over somebody else if they say it's cool and you don't say it's cool? No. Okay? Let's not get caught up in the coolness of things. Let's just do it because it works, all right? Isn't that awesome? Isn't that good enough? If I drag this to my desktop, I can use that as a direct link. I can also drag this icon to my taskbar. I already have one because I've already done it, so I'm not going to do it again. But you can drag it down to your taskbar at the bottom, the alias one. Drag it down to the taskbar, not the other one, but drag the alias, the one with the arrow. Drag it down to your taskbar at the bottom, and I've already done that for myself. And then that will enable you to execute, to start the application. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And if I do that, see what happens. It opens it up, no problem. I'm going to actually open it from here because I've done this twice, and I believe the one on my taskbar is opening a different version of it. Kind of tricky. But this one's definitely going to open this one. So I'm going to open it. And it's going to be like, wow. The first time you open it, let me talk about this. First time you open it, it's going to say this has been downloaded from the internet. And you're going to click open. It might say that. But you're going to click open. And anything that asks, can it allow to access this or that folder, you're going to say allow or okay. And that doesn't matter if you think it's cool or not. It's not going to work if you don't do that. So don't get attached to, you just do it. Just if it says, oh, this has been downloaded from the internet or something like that, you have to click open. If it says, can this access your whatever folder, click OK or allow. Just do that, because problems will ensue if you don't. Problems will ensue for you, boo. All right? So we're going to go over here and look at this program, this wonderful program. Literally, I'm going to skip over all the other stuff for today. We're just going to export. We're going to go right into export. We're going to take this. This is our model. We're already done with it. We could do other things if you wanted to paint it. If you wanted to do other things, you could. But we're going to literally go to the export, because I'm going to keep the video short. Go to export, keep it short. Go down there, export, bottom right, export, and select the OBJ option. Selecting the OBJ option. And then when I click the OBJ, it gives me this window pops up. The default place that it's going to export is to the export folder. Now let's step back for a second, because you're wondering, I don't even know about that export folder. What are you doing to me? What's going on here? Well, I'll tell you this. In this folder right here, the folder that we were just dealing with, right? This is the actual Magical Voxel folder, which is in our Game Dev Apps folder, or whatever you called it. In that folder, where the executable is that we gave extra permissions by dragging it out and back in, is another folder given the name export. So export, that it's referring to there, is the default folder to export to, is called export. Okay, mind's blown. It's called export. We're going to actually use that. I'm going to go ahead and call this GWiz. GWiz. I'm going to export that GWiz to the export folder. It's an OBJ. Now I'm going to go check in that folder because I don't believe it. I'm going to go over there. There I am. I'm over there already. And I'm going to go into the export folder, and what do you see? GWiz. And there's 3 files there because exporting OBJ actually creates 3 different files. So the OBJ file, the MTL file, and the PNG. There they are. GWiz. No, that's the name of the file, literally. GWiz. kind of plan that out. If you think that's cool, that's great. If you don't think it's cool, that's okay. No preferential treatment here for people that think it's cool. So do not go down that route. So right there we go. Got that file there. What do we do now? Now we're going to take it, put it into Blender. So we're going to open the Spotlight search by pressing the Command key and then tapping the space key. Brings up the Spotlight search. And then I'm going to type in Blender, B-L-E-N-D. All right? So if you didn't install Blender already, make sure that you check out our Blender and install video. All right? And before you do, make sure you like and subscribe. Okay? And go ahead and run Blender, and we'll see. Oh, look at that. I already have something in Blender. This is from the last time I did it. But let me pretend like I didn't do that. I should have had it closed. And we go, don't save. So when you open up Blender, you have this like starter cube. It's called the default cube. It's a nice little, it's a cube. And you have a camera and you have a light. We don't actually want any of them now. We don't care for them. It's nothing personal against them necessarily, but we just don't want them. Right? So we're going to press the A key to select all the things. Think about that for a second. The A key, all the things. A thing, A key, the A key, all the things. And then we're going to press the X key, and then hit the return key. And that gets rid of all the stuff. Now that we've gotten rid of all the stuff, we're going to import our OBJ. We're going to go File, Import, Wavefront OBJ. And this is how we're going to go find that, get that GWiz OBJ. GWiz. There we go. We're going to go File, Import, Wavefront OBJ. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go to the Game Dev Apps folder that I made. I'm going to go inside the Magical Voxel folder that's inside of there. I'm going to go inside of that export folder because that's where I had exported it to. And there, behold, in all of its glory, is the gwiz.vox.obj. And I'm going to click Import. Now mine imports nicely like right into the middle. I'm going to grab it. I'm going to select it and go G and move it off a little bit to the side. Because yours is actually going to be off center. And that's a bug that's in, I apologize, it's a bug that's in the version of Magical Voxel that you folks have, unfortunately. Or fortunately, because it's going to make us confront this idea of centering the model. So to center the model, we're going to click on any of the green axes circles, the Y. Click on Y up here in the top right. Going to click on the Y. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to actually take my cursor and go over the hand on the right. I'm going to go over the hand here. And then I'm going to drag. I'm going to center this a little. I'm going to drag it. That's actually panning it. And then I'm going to click on make sure I'm clicking on the model. And I'm going to press the G key to grab it. The G key to grab it. Think about that. G, grab. G, and then I'm going to move it. I like to move it. And there I go. I move it, and I put it on top of the red line. And that's good enough. Now I'm going to click on the red dot in the upper right, and now I'm going to center it on this from this perspective. I'm going to press G again. This time I'm going to center it over here on top of the green line, like that. Now it should be sufficiently centered on top, sitting on top of the origin of the space. Now that we've centered this, let's display, if you wanted to display the color, now I didn't really add any special color to this, but if you go up to the top where it says Viewport Shading on these different choices, the one that says Material Preview, that's Material Preview. Viewport Shading, Material Preview. Click on that, and it will apply the whatever material you exported. Here you can see the default material that was exported there from Magical Voxel. Magical Voxel. Okay, so we're going to click on the green in the top right there again. This time we're going to take one more step, and we're going to make it the right size, because scaling is an important thing to do as well. We're going to go over the hand here. I'm going to drag going over the hand. I'm going to move up a little bit, kind of center this a little bit. I'm going to go over here to the magnifying glass. I'm going to drag, and you can see I zoom out and zoom in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. So I'm going to kind of get my model in a nice front and center orientation. I'm going to go over to the left then. On the far left, there's this tool. It's called the measure tool. And it's especially useful if you want to measure things. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go from the bottom of this model. I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. I'm going to see how big it currently is. It's currently 4 meters. That's crazy. I only want it to be 1.6 meters, which is the standard height for a character in a game. It's not that every character is 1.6 meters, but when you say the standard height for a character in a game, a humanoid type of character, we're going to say that that is 1.6 meters. But it's 4 meters. What do I do? How do I make it 1.6? What's going on? Well, what we do is we're going to use like Google, and we're going to find out about that from, no, not Bates College. I'm going to go over here. And we're going to type in what we want. We want 1.6, and we're going to put / and what we currently have, 4. So I take 1.6 divided by 4, and that gives me the scale factor required to get the desired size. I want the size of 1.6. I divide it by 4, the current size, and that quotient, right? That ratio represents the quotient that stands for the scale factor we need. So I need the scale factor of 0.4 to be applied in order for that to be 1.6. It's currently 4. Now let's see if it works. Right? So I got to apply a scale factor of 0.4. So I click on it. If I go S for scale, 0.4, enter. Now guess what? Guess how big it's going to be if I measure it now. Watch this. Watch this. 1.6. 1.6. Look at that. Math works. So that's exactly what we wanted it to be. Now it's scaled. Now you know how to come up with the scale factor. You know how to center things. Now we just got to get this beast out of there because we wanted to get it in the game, don't we? Yeah. Get it in the game. So let's go ahead and open up Glitch. Let's open up Glitch to any of your projects. We're just going to use this as a place to store this model for now. I don't care what project for right now. We just want to get it into Glitch. You see what I'm saying? Right, so I'm going to go down here into Glitch. I'm just going to pick one of my projects. How about Holly 388? Why not? Why not? And then I'm going to go into Holly 388. I'm going to click Edit Project. Now in the Holly 388 project, there's a special folder. It's called Assets. It's called the Assets folder. The Assets folder is a folder for holding things that are files that are important. They are assets. They're beneficial to us. They're by being assets. So we're going to the Assets folder. And it's in that Assets folder, that's where we're going to put this file that we exported. Remember, we exported that file. We exported it, did it? Yes, we did. Where did we export it to? Or did we export it? We didn't export it yet. See? Fooled you. We didn't export it yet. Just said we did. We're going to go up to the top over here in Blender, go File, Export, and then GLTF. File, Export, GLTF. Click on that beast. And now, where am I going to export it to? I don't know. I'm going to probably just have some fun. I'm going to put it back in that same folder. I'm going to go to Desktop. I'm going to go to Game Dev Apps, Magic of Voxel, Export. I know it's not a Vox file. I'm going to call this, what do I call it? Call it Cube, because it's a cube. I'm going to go ahead and click Export. Now, is it there? Is it there? If I go to the Finder window, look at that. It's there now. Cube.glb, it's in that folder. It really is there. And now, we can go and put it into here. So if I take that, maybe I resize this a little bit so I'm not covering the whole thing. So there's like Glitch, the Assets folder. There's my GLB. Watch what I'm doing. It's crazy. Look at this. Dragging and dropping. Because look what it did at the bottom, what happened? There it is, cube.glb. This is what you turn in for this lesson. You click on this URL right here, copy. That's all you do. Now you can go over to the lesson. Like over here, you click View Assignment, Add or Create, Link, paste that link. And that's the link. What do you think? And if that's not good enough for you, if you just want to see it, if you're just itching to see it, right? You just itching to see it? Are you itching to see it? Yes. Okay? If not, that's cool. Click on Gltf Viewer, because we can see it. We can see it. What do you mean I can see it? Well, you can just like drag it into the viewer and see the glorious cube. And there it is. It actually is there. So, but we'll get more into kind of putting it in the game type world. But if you wanted to see it now in like a web environment, there it is. There's your cube. And it's all that. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you thought it was cool, that's great. No bennies coming your way if you did think it's cool. It's just what it is, right? That's what this video is. It explains how to do stuff. Hopefully you're down with just the practical nature of it. Okay? Have a great day. Ciao, bunga.